And good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Johnny Cleveland podcast. We are live. If you would like to comment or react to all of what I have to say this evening, please do if you're watching us on the X, Facebook, wherever you're watching our show. Also, listen to us on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. It's great. Our Fanatical Elves network is growing and we're very excited about that. We're thankful to all of you who support us, watch us regularly, listen to our shows on Apple, on Spotify, because that's where we make the big bucks. But we really appreciate that. We have so many great contributors here on the Fanatical Elves Network. Not only my show, Johnny Cleveland Podcast, we've got the Fanatical Elves show coming up on Thursday night. We just had Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi last night and myself. Ethan Greenberg's got Going Nuclear, and Heather and Ethan have the best doggone podcast in the land. Steve Gill with the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast. Let's see if I get all these right. Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom. Sam, the man with the Browns breakdowns. We got Jarrell with the Dog Food Radio. See, I know them all. So, again, thanks for tuning in to our Fanatical Elves Network. We really appreciate your support. Also, shout out to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Great coffee. They shake the hand of the farmer. All right. So it's late night Tuesday podcasting edition. And Shador Sanders, the Shador Sanders, who I have been pushing for forever. I think the kid's going to be dynamite as an NFL quarterback. I've said this long before he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. And I'm so excited to see what this kid can do. And the fact that he's playing for the Cleveland Browns, I'm very excited. And many of you are very excited. It is preseason. The games don't count. But we're going to be able to see a lot of things Friday night. Now, there's been a lot of going into this moment. He hasn't gotten a lot of time with the first team, uh, mostly with second teamers. He's been working out with third teamers. So it sounds like they're going to throw him in there, throw him into the fire down there in Carolina on Friday night. Thus, they picked up Tyler Huntley, who briefly played with the Browns last year in preseason, then went to where did he go? He formerly played for Baltimore, left, came here to Cleveland, then went off to some other played for Miami. That's right, played for the Dolphins. Came here to Cleveland last year as a Dolphin and beat the Browns, and now he's back with the Browns. Sounds like Tyler Huntley's going to get some playing time tomorrow, but it was announced earlier this afternoon by many outlets here in the area and nationally that Shador would be starting in this preseason game. By the way, the game is on the NFL Network, and locally, it'll be here in Cleveland and all over. And I live here in Columbus, so we'll be able to catch that down here. But it is must see TV. It's exciting, folks. I mean, we were excited going into the we're Browns fans, and regardless of our anticipation of what could happen and all that hope and optimism that we have, sometimes it leads to then dread and misery as we get going into the season. This is a good, fun moment. These are the moments in Cleveland sports where it could be something really special. And that's why I think a lot of us who are supporting this kid are excited. It could go south, sure. And there are many of you out there who are not sold on Shador Sanders and the whole take of him being a fifth round pick and blah blah blah, and the quarterback class not being that strong. I really have a problem with people that like to argue that thing that the quarterback class is not that good. We haven't even started the season. We haven't played any NFL real games. We'll start those in September. So for people that are constantly bringing up, well, this is a really porous quarterback class. That Cam Ward was only rated so it's such and such at the beginning of last year, and he rose, and some of these other players were at college level were scheduled to be drafted ahead of him a year ago. We haven't seen them play. Let the guys play. Then let's analyze after that to see, was this the worst quarterback class ever? If it turns out that they all suck, great. But I'm not going to go on and say, well, this is the worst quarterback class, and Shador Sanders, the Browns shouldn't. He in some years and drafts, he would never have even been drafted. I mean, that's a bunch of BS. I don't care. I mean, it is important. I do care that, and some of you don't like to talk about this, but his dad is Deion Sanders, and that has some to do with all of what we're talking about right now. And it was brought up in conversation with him when he was asked some questions about his dad and not coming to practice. And Shador was very open and respectful about it and talked in ways. And I talked to Lou about this last night that are mature beyond his years. You got to give Dion and his family some credit for how Shador is presenting himself. I mean, Shador is doing this on his own. He's his own person. He's his own individual. But he learned. He watched his dad and others in his family. And for him, the other day, he was reflecting on himself and he said that he likes himself. And I said to Lou, that's remarkable for a young person in their 20s, early 20s, to talk about themselves that way. And he didn't do it in a stuck up, sort of snotty way, very reflective and a very positive energy. And that's, I think, the other part of this story is that all of that energy that he puts out there, and yes, there's a camera following him, and some people say, well, he's doing this and that, the camera follows him and he's doing community events and things, and it's kind of purposeful to kind of portray like what he is, but is he really that way? Yes. If you watch enough tape on this kid and watch enough of what he's doing in the community, it's positive. And that's all I've been saying this whole time. And that energy, the football gods are coming down and giving this kid an opportunity. Is he going to knock it out of the park? I mean, that's the other argument today is, well, he hasn't had any time, again, with these first teamers, and he's not going to be rolling out there probably with the first teamers, but they're going to have some practices with Carolina. So we'll wait and see. But it was announced that he should be the one going in there starting Friday night. So it will be must see TV. Everyone will be glued to their TVs, their iPads, and their phones, wherever you're at. If you're a Browns fan, you're probably going to want to start watching that. I think the game starts at 7 o'clock, 7:30. So I know Lou Marconi, he's got his Burning River Browns talk. Sherry's going to be on there as well. And I think if you want to stop over and watch them here on YouTube or on the X or Facebook. So we'll be right back. This is the Johnny Cleveland podcast. Hey, if you want to comment again on Shador and what's going on coming up on Friday, we'd love to answer your questions or responses to that. We've been diving into the whole little snippets of uh, video. We're sending those out on TikTok. We've got a TikTok page. Follow us, TikTok page, Elves Network. YouTube, we're the Elves Network. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. Enjoying doing that. We're getting some more followers. Thank you, those of you who are watching us on those platforms like Instagram and TikTok as we grow our Fanatical Elves brand. It was fun. I have a colleague that was talking earlier, and I've done a lot of writing too on the side with the Fans First. I also write for Northeast Sports Insiders, and long ago, not that long ago, but I did write for Dog Pound Daily quite a bit for part of Fansided. Many of you who are Browns fans might read that. And when I was sharing my podcasting platform in the background, it's one of the folks that I work with. It seemed that their spouse they recognized some of my old writings when I was working for Dog Pound Daily, so that was pretty cool. My 15 minutes of fame as we continue to get bigger and better here. So Shador is going to start Friday. I'm super excited about that. I think you should be if you're, you know, it's funny because when we talk about preseason and everybody wants to see this, when things are going certain ways, we'll say, well, it's just preseason, it doesn't matter. Yet, here's a moment where it really does matter. I think this is a really significant moment where this team can start forming a new identity. I know Joel, Kate, and I were going to be doing the What the Elf show. That I forgot to mention Joel's show, What the Elf. We'll be doing that tomorrow, Wednesday. So tune into that here on the Fanatical Elves Network. But he's been talking a lot about, the Browns finding an identity. This team averaged 15 points a game on offense last year. They had a lot of barrage of injuries as well on their offensive side of things early on in the season. They had a hard time establishing an identity. Nick Chubb, who's not with the team any longer, was still coming back from that serious knee injury. So this team has an opportunity with Shador Sanders now leading the charge going into Charlotte to start sort of a new identity. They've got a new running back in Dylan Sampson. They have a new linebacker in Carson Schwessinger. They got a new defensive lineman, Mason Graham, who was drafted the highest Browns draft pick, by the way. So these are new players that are coming in with a youthful tone and ready to play. And this team hopefully can start a new and exciting uh, period in their history right now. We're starting that trek toward this new beautiful dome stadium. It's going to be fantastic. There are many of you still out there that are doubters and are haters and don't like listening to all this and want to continue to talk about the Haslam's being criminals and spending our money and like just I'm tired of that debate. And if you're still on that side of going against this, you just need to give it up because this trek is going toward this beautiful new facility that's going to be built in Brook Park, and it's leading this team. The Browns are, gearing up toward that trajectory, toward that climb to the mountain. There was a discussion I know on 850 this morning. They were talking about Kevin Stefanski, the current Browns coach, going into the year 6. Is he going to make it that far? Could he be the guy that could still lead this team to the promised land, to a Super Bowl? Now, some of you will laugh at that. I even have colleagues and contributors here on the Fanatical Elves that 1,000% disagree with that possibility. I'm not sold on it. I'm not convinced on it myself today. I will give Kevin Stefanski another opportunity. They can have another 3-14 season. I know the Haslams have already spoken on that. The other question was, are Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski tied together? Are they, if one gets fired, is the other one gone as well? I would think that if something went south again, that the two of them have to go. You can't separate them. Many of you still think that this is a freebie year based on what everyone has said, including the ownership. I don't agree with that, especially if they go 3-14 or 4-13 or 5 wins. They've got to be gone. If you can get that above 6 wins, maybe 7 wins, cool. But we should be going for Super Bowls. And the goal shouldn't be to just get to a Super Bowl when you get to that dome, is to get to the Super Bowl now. That was my argument the other week, and my being pissed off about this whole topic of wins. You haven't heard this team really talking about winning. Yes, they want to win, but again, you're not hearing them all say, I'm ready to go to the Super Bowl this year. Granted, they've got all this young talent we spoke of, and it's going to take time. And like Lou said the other night, he's looking forward to seeing what these young players can do as well. And that's what I think there's a lot of that all of us are going to be really tuned into Friday night. Now, folks, you never know, right? Football is a game of, there's a lot of time and effort and talent put into it, but sometimes, knock on wood, things happen that don't always work out in your favor. But we'll see. A lot to be excited about. We'll see what happens in the next couple days as the two teams have joint practices. The Carolina and the Browns play some joint practices, so we'll see how Shador looks in those, and there will be lots of discussion over the next couple days leading into this game on Friday. So stay tuned. Must see TV. We'll give you all the latest rundown as we see it here at the Fanatical Elves Network. Finally, before I leave you tonight, how about them Guardians, them guards? Ooh, they're surging, folks. Class A getting pretty much suspended and investigated does not look good. But the Cleveland Baseball Club are doing some really good things right now, and they won again. They beat the New York Mets earlier tonight, 3-2. I think they beat them 3-2 yesterday too. So they're now 7 games back of the Tigers, only 7 games back of the American League Central lead, and they're only a game or two out of the wild card. So they are getting good when they need to get good. And I think I talked about this in the last show that their schedule is pretty favorable. The Mets are challenging too for playoffs. So the fact that Cleveland has been able to go into New York and beat them there is pretty big. Pretty big. So good job for the Guardians. We'll see what happens next. I was talking to my family earlier. We were reminiscing about, well, the Superman movie came out, a few weeks ago, and many of the scenes were filmed in Cleveland. So if you are a Clevelander, you definitely need to go see the Superman movie. Most of you probably know that if you're from Cleveland, but go see the Superman movie. I've heard good things about it. And if you like to see parts of Cleveland in the movie, they're in there as well. So lots of good movies. I was talking to Lou last night about our Bill Murray movies. We were talking about what about Bob, some of his great movies. There's a good movie out there called Vincent with him in it with Melissa McCarthy. Also, so check that one out. Also, we were talking about Kevin Costner movies. Kevin Costner's done a boatload of baseball movies. So if you like baseball movies, For Love of the Game is my favorite. Now, a lot of you like Field of Dreams. That's a great one. Bill Durham. So check all those movies out when you want to go stream and chill on some weekend or some weeknight and you want to watch a few good old movies. All right, folks, that's all I got for you on a Tuesday evening. I hope you have a very, very good rest of your evening. Wherever you're listening to us or watching us at, please tune in again next time for our Johnny Cleveland podcast, and all the shows are going to be coming up tomorrow. Like I said, Joel Cade has his What the Elf show, and I'll be co-host with him tomorrow. I believe we're coming on around 4:30 Eastern. So check us out live here on YouTube, on the X, on Facebook, and listen to us again on Apple. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple. If you don't want to watch our pretty faces, that's okay. But if you listen to us, that's where we make the more than just 1 cent. We might make 2 cents, and every cent counts toward making the Fanatical Elves Network bigger than it ever has been. So thanks for your loyalty. Continue to spread the love. Tell other folks about our Fanatical Elves Network, and uh, watch for my writings too. I write for the Fanatical Elves, fans first. I write for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, and Natalie, that runs the group there, Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, does a great job. Looking forward to covering the Browns. Yes, the Browns that we're talking about at a few of their games upcoming in person with that group. So I'll have some insight and inside scoop because I'll be in the trenches, so to say. I'll have more information on that as we get closer to the beginning of the season. Until next time, we will talk to you then, and keep smiling. Go Browns.